Buckle up, America. The 2024 election is coming. It's going to be a wild ride. We're talking about the future of our country, our healthcare, our jobs, our planet. In this corner, we have Vice President Kamala Harris. She's representing the Democrats. On the other side, we've got former President Donald Trump. He's back for round two with the Republicans. This election is about more than just picking a president. It's about choosing the direction of our nation. And it all comes down to the policies. Kamala Harris is a former prosecutor. She's known for her sharp wit and tough stance on crime. But she's also a champion for social justice. She wants to expand healthcare, invest in green energy, and create a more equitable society. Trump, on the other hand, is a businessman. He's all about putting America first. He wants to bring back jobs, cut taxes, and build a wall. Their visions for America are as different as night and day. Harris sees a future where everyone has a fair shot. Trump wants to restore America to its former glory. Over the next few sections, we'll break down their policies issue by issue. We'll examine the potential impact on your life. This is the 2024 election showdown. Okay, let's get down to business. First up, healthcare. It's a big one, folks. Everybody needs it, but not everybody can afford it. Kamala Harris knows that. That's why she's pushing for a public option. Think of it like this. A government-run health insurance plan. It would compete with private insurance. The idea is to give people more choices and hopefully bring down costs. Harris argues that healthcare is a right, not a privilege. She wants everyone to have access to quality, affordable care. Whether you're a CEO or a cashier, will it win over voters? Only time will tell. Next up, the economy. It's the engine that drives our country. And right now, it's sputtering. Kamala Harris knows we need a tune-up. She wants to invest in America's future. Her plan, clean energy, infrastructure, education. She wants to create millions of new jobs, good-paying jobs, jobs that can't be outsourced. Harris believes that climate change is real. She wants to make America the world leader in renewable energy. Harris argues that we can't afford to wait. She believes investing in green energy will create jobs and protect the planet. Section 3. Harris on immigration, a path to citizenship. Let's talk immigration. It's a hot-button issue. Always has been. Kamala Harris wants to find a solution, one that's both compassionate and practical. Her plan, a path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants, people who came here as children, people who are working hard and paying taxes. She wants to bring them out of the shadows. Harris believes in keeping families together. She thinks deporting people who are contributing to society is cruel and pointless. She wants to reform our broken immigration system, but Harris is determined to find a way forward. Section 1. Weighing the scales, the pros and cons of Harris's healthcare plan. Harris's healthcare plan is all about that public option. It's designed to be a safety net, catching folks who fall through the cracks of the private insurance world. Critics, mostly on the Republican side, say, hold up, this is America. We like our choices, especially when it comes to healthcare. They argue that a public option would squeeze out private insurers, limiting those choices. And then there's the money. Who's footing the bill for this public option? You guessed it, taxpayers. It's a moral and economic debate wrapped up in one. Section 2. Green New Deal or economic overload. Assessing Harris's economic vision. Harris is betting big on green energy. Think solar farms stretching across the desert, wind turbines dotting coastlines, and electric cars zipping along highways. Supporters point to the potential for massive job creation in renewable energy sectors. But critics are wary. They see the Green New Deal, which Harris supports, as a job-killing machine. They argue that transitioning away from fossil fuels too quickly will lead to massive job losses in industries like coal mining and oil drilling. It's a classic tug-of-war between economic growth and environmental protection. Section 3. A bridge over troubled waters, examining the positives and negatives of Harris's immigration approach. Immigration. It's a topic that always gets folks fired up. Harris is taking a compassionate stance, pushing for a pathway to citizenship for undocumented immigrants, especially those brought here as children. The dreamers. Supporters argue it's the humane and practical thing to do, but critics aren't convinced. They see it as rewarding people for breaking the law. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, pitting compassion against the rule of law. Section 1, Trump on healthcare, repeal and replace. Remember repeal and replace? Yeah, that old chestnut from 2016. Well, it's back, baby. Donald Trump is still gunning for the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare. He calls it a disaster, a socialist nightmare. He wants to get rid of it, but the replace part, still a bit fuzzy. Trump claims he's got a beautiful healthcare plan waiting in the wings, one that's cheaper, better, and covers everyone. Critics, including many healthcare experts, are skeptical. Section 2, Trump on the economy, tax cuts and trade wars round 2. If there's one thing Trump loves, it's a good deal, especially when it comes to the economy. His 2024 playbook looks a lot like 2016 tax cuts, deregulation, and a healthy dose of protectionism. Trump claims his policies led to a booming economy before the pandemic hit. He wants to double down on those successes, promising more tax cuts for businesses and individuals, along with slashing regulations he says stifle growth. Critics argue that Trump's policies primarily benefit the wealthy and corporations, while doing little for the average worker. It's a high-stakes gamble on a familiar economic strategy. Section 3, Trump on immigration, building walls, literal and figurative. Remember the wall? Yeah, that's back too. Trump's stance on immigration hasn't softened one bit. He's still all about securing the border, reducing legal immigration, and cracking down on what he calls sanctuary cities. Critics accuse Trump of demonizing immigrants for political gain. They argue that his policies are cruel, ineffective, and based on fear-mongering. They point to the separation of families at the border and the detention of asylum seekers in inhumane conditions. It's a deeply divisive issue, with each side entrenched in their beliefs. Section 1, Trump's healthcare gamble. A roll of the dice or a losing hand. Trump's healthcare plan, well, it's more like a promise than a plan at this point. He's big on the repeal part of repeal and replace, but the replace part remains shrouded in mystery. Supporters argue that Obamacare is a sinking ship with rising premiums and dwindling choices. They believe Trump, the ultimate deal-maker, can use his business savvy to negotiate lower drug prices and cut through bureaucratic red tape. But critics see this as wishful thinking, a dangerous gamble with people's lives. They point to Trump's previous attempts to dismantle Obamacare, which would have stripped millions of their health insurance and driven up costs for everyone else. They argue that his vague promises lack substance and could leave Americans worse off. Without concrete plans, it's hard to know if Trump's healthcare vision is a winning hand or a losing gamble. Section 2, Trump's economic tightrope, balancing growth with global tensions. Trump's economic strategy is a high-wire act. He's all about deregulation, tax cuts, and America First policies, even if it means playing hardball with trading partners. Supporters point to the pre-pandemic economy as evidence of Trump's success. They argue that his tax cuts, particularly for corporations, fueled economic growth and created jobs. But critics argue that Trump's policies primarily benefit the wealthy and corporations while leaving working families behind. They point to the widening income gap and the ballooning national debt as evidence that his trickle-down economics don't work. It's a high-stakes gamble on a familiar economic playbook. Trump's stance on immigration is clear: build walls, tighten borders, and reduce both legal and illegal immigration. He sees it as a matter of national security, economic protection, and cultural preservation. Supporters applaud his tough stance, arguing that it's about time America put its own citizens first. They believe that mass immigration, both legal and illegal, depresses wages, strains social services, and poses a threat to national security. Critics, however, view Trump's policies as inhumane, ineffective, and based on fear-mongering. They argue that his rhetoric demonizes immigrants, scapegoats them for complex social problems, and fuels xenophobia. It's a deeply divisive issue, with each side holding firm to their beliefs. All right, folks, let's talk healthcare. It's a topic that gets everyone riled up, and for good reason. Harris and Trump, they see this issue through very different lenses. Harris, she's all about that public option, giving folks a government-run insurance plan to compete with private insurers. It's about choice, she says, and affordability. She argues that healthcare shouldn't be a privilege reserved for the wealthy, that everyone deserves access to quality care. Trump, on the other hand, he wants to take a wrecking ball to Obamacare, claiming he's got a beautiful plan waiting in the wings. But details, they're scarcer than a truthful statement at a Trump rally. He talks a big game about lower costs and better coverage, but critics say it's the same old song and dance. A repeat performance of his failed attempts to repeal and replace Obamacare without a viable alternative. This boils down to a fundamental difference in ideology. Harris believes in a stronger government role in healthcare, using its power to negotiate lower prices and expand coverage. Trump, true to his free market principles, wants to put more power in the hands of consumers and private insurers, arguing that competition will drive down costs and spur innovation. It's a classic battle between government intervention and market forces, one that will have a profound impact on the health and well-being of millions of Americans. Now let's talk money, folks. The economy, Harris and Trump, they've got very different visions. Harris bets on green energy for sustainability and prosperity. Trump sticks to America first. He wants to bring back manufacturing jobs and unleash American energy. The winner will shape America's economic future. Section 3, immigration, a pathway to citizenship versus building walls. Immigration is always a hot-button issue. Harris and Trump offer starkly different visions. Harris calls for compassion and reform. She wants a pathway to citizenship for dreamers. Trump sticks to his hardline stance. He wants to build that wall. What kind of country does America want to be? Section 1, the choice is yours, America. There you have it, folks. The 2024 showdown, Harris versus Trump. Two candidates, two vastly different visions for America. This election isn't just about picking a president. It's about choosing the direction of our country. It's about deciding what we stand for. Do we want a government that provides a safety net, or one that steps back and lets the free market reign? Do we want to lead the charge on climate change, or focus on traditional energy sources? Do we want to welcome immigrants or build walls to keep them out? These are tough questions, and there are no easy answers. But one thing's for sure, this election matters. It matters to your healthcare, it matters to your job, it matters to the future of our planet. So do your homework, read up on the issues, listen to both sides, and most importantly, get out there and vote. Section 2, the ripple effect, policies and their potential impact. Think of it like this. Every policy is like a stone thrown into a pond. It creates ripples that spread outwards, affecting every corner of our lives. Take healthcare. A public option could mean lower costs for some, but maybe higher taxes for others. It's a trade-off. Or consider the economy. Investing in green energy could create jobs, but it could also mean higher energy prices in the short term. And what about immigration? A pathway to citizenship could boost the economy, but it could also strain social services. These are complex issues with no easy solutions. There's no magic bullet. Every policy has its pros and cons. What matters is finding the right balance, the balance that works best for America, the balance that reflects our values and priorities. That's why this election is so important. It's about more than just picking a president. It's about shaping the future of our country. Section 3, your vote, your voice. In the grand scheme of things, one vote might seem small, like a drop in the ocean, but when millions of Americans cast their votes, it creates a tidal wave. A wave that can change the course of history. Don't underestimate your power. Your vote is your voice. It's your chance to make a difference, to stand up for what you believe in, to shape the future you want for yourself, your family, and your country. So don't sit this one out. Don't let others decide for you. Get informed, get engaged, and get ready to make your voice heard. The 2024 election is just around the corner. The future of America is in your hands. Choose wisely.